Welcome to the Pit Check, your weekly news for the best and heaviest new albums from your favorite extreme metal and hardcore bands. Today's episode is actually going to be a lot more focused on some awesome new up-and-comers and some hometown heroes, probably due to the holidays. But instead of usual, where a bunch of heavy hitters have released a bunch of hyped up albums, instead today we've got a great collection of newer bands that should absolutely be on your radar. Deathcore and hardcore music lovers especially have some crazy new albums to listen to, including one with a phenomenal vocalist who's only 16 years old. But don't worry, we've also got some metalcore and a little bit of death metal this week as well. So like always, make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's get right into this week's best and heaviest new albums. Okay, so let's start with the biggest band on today's list with a whopping 29K Spotify listeners.
This 2 quarters, this halftime on. Take my style, take my shine.
The hardcore and rap crossover band Bayway, New Jersey, has just released their latest album, The Recipe Volume 1.
It's all that you got, hard to cope with the pain, but you know I won't stop. You mad as hell, 'cause you taking nothing but some L's.
If you like mixing hardcore with rap and that 90s, 2000s beatdown hardcore sound, bands like E-Town Concrete, Fury of 5, or even Gridiron, this'll be right up your alley.
Shut your mouth.
Honestly, I love how fun their sound is. They're clearly self-aware and campy and a little silly sometimes, but they still have disgustingly heavy riffs and breakdowns, showing that, like all good men, they can be both goofy and dangerous.
Like I did that.
There's also some sick features on this album from Terror, Big Boy, Cruel Hand, and Piece by Piece. I highly recommend this album if you're into that up-tempo and bouncy hardcore, or you just want a way heavier version of that rap rock from the 90s.
Trust your records, Bayway.
Members from Alter Beast, Fallujah, All Shall Perish, and even a songwriter for Dance Gavin Dance have come together to create this extremely underrated band, Emberthrone. Emberthrone formed in Sacramento in 2022, but this is only their second release, an EP titled Cursive. If you love groovy and technical death metal and deathcore, but with a little bit of Myspace era metalcore and deathcore thrown in there for some flavor, you should definitely check this album out. I was surprised how much this band did not want to stay tied to one genre. Some songs have really melodic death metal overtones, other songs feel like throwback deathcore, and others have that super riff-focused 2000s metalcore vibe. I don't know, I was just genuinely impressed seeing this range of talents from this band. This is only a 4-song EP, but it does clock in at a whopping 22 minutes. And so with each song pushing 6 minutes, it has time to breathe and take you on its own unique journey. Definitely check this one out if you want something a little more groovy and interesting from your death metal and deathcore. Need some insane Canadian hardcore? The up-and-coming hardcore band Terminator has just released their debut album, titled Identity. Canada has been putting out some incredible hardcore music lately, and this is no different. I love how this band is raw and gritty and rough around the edges, which adds a ton of passion and energy to this album. If you love fast and punchy hardcore music, bands like Speed or End It or Candy, this'll be right up your alley. Not that it really needs to be said with hardcore music, but I really dig how authentic and welcoming this project is, with the general theme of the album being about how only we can decide what we stand for and who we are, both inside and out, with the band saying identity is, quote, about taking control of your body, your mind, and your fate. It's no one else's choice besides your own. The Myspace deathcore revival just keeps getting better. The disgustingly heavy up-and-coming band Reverent, Rev3 Rent, has just released their sophomore EP titled Decimate. This band is making some huge waves right now in the deathcore and slam and Myspace revival scenes. Not only because, well, obviously the music rips, but also because this band is super young. The vocalist is literally only 16 years old. And you'd think that because they're so young, the songwriting might be immature or cliche, but nope. Instead, they channel this like youthful energy and fusion of influences into a really fun and surprisingly fresh sound. This band is clearly hungry, and they want to show you that they can bring it. I had a great time with this EP, and if you love nasty slams and breakdowns, super low gutturals, and crazy guitar riffs, maybe you're a fan of bands like As Blood Runs Black, or Mold, or A Black Rose Burial, I swear you'll love this one. Need some down-tempo slamming brutal death metal? The half Floridian, half Canadian slam band Gloombringer has just released their latest EP titled Instinctive Gen. If you love crushingly heavy riffs, mixed with some really sludgy modern slam, and also brutal death metal, you know, bands with guitarists that like to be super heavy without just repetitive chugs, then you're gonna love this one. The vocalist is also an absolute monster, with insane gutturals and pig squeals that somehow keep getting lower and lower. I had a really fun time with this one. It's only 3 songs, so it definitely left me wanting more. But this is their second 3-song EP released this year alone. So it seems like instead of doing a full length, they'll keep dropping these little 3-song EPs sporadically, which is kind of cool. Maybe it keeps things fresh. Need some boundaries breaking hardcore? The German melodic hardcore band Backstabbed, aka Germany's heaviest boy group, has just released their latest EP titled Self-Fulfilling Tragedy. Honestly, this band has such a unique and interesting sound, always blending like 1,000 different influences together. On this EP specifically though, they've stuck to a more melodic hardcore meets beatdown hardcore bass line, but still incorporated some metalcore and punk elements as well. This band is on the up and up, no question. And German hardcore in general is just getting nastier and nastier. Bands like this, Defiance, Words of Concrete, and so many more are keeping German hardcore thriving across like all spectrums of hardcore. This is only a 4-song EP, but it's such a good time. And after you finish this one, definitely check out their discography. They've released a couple of really good EPs over the last couple years. And then finally, this is actually one that I missed last week that I meant to include. Need some metallic beatdown hardcore. The Ohio-based hardcore band CastxDown, or CastxDown, has just released their latest EP titled Force. If you like blending metalcore and beatdown hardcore, bands like Mugshot and Orthodox, this is going to be right up your alley. I really like how crunchy and fuzzy these guitars sound, which really complement the vocalist's kinda 2000s metalcore mid-range growls. I don't know why, it kept reminding me of that like 2008 For the Fallen Dreams era vocals. I enjoyed this release a lot. It's only 5 songs, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm very curious to see what kind of path they're gonna take when it's time to put together a full length. And here's the list of all the bands and albums that were released this week, including a lot of the ones that we did not get to cover this week. There's a lot of good stuff in here though. Spineless, they're really good, like blackened deathcore kind of vibe. I don't know, there's a lot of good stuff in here, but definitely check it out for yourself. And again, thank you for joining me on these weekly album reviews and recommendations. It really means a lot to me, all of the positive feedback you guys have been giving me on here and on my TikTok channel. I read every comment, I promise, and it's awesome, thank you. So again, make sure you wear your deodorant in the mosh pit, and I'll catch you next week for another pit check.